50 years and 1 day to the anniversary of the start of the Yom Kippur War. The largest attack on Israel since the Yom Kippur War occurred starting this morning on 0600 local time, no, excuse me, 0630 at local time in Israel. Hamas attacked massively with a barrage of rockets, estimated by some counts anywhere from, I've seen 2,200 to up to over 5,000 rockets. Various sources make many different claims, but whatever the case, getting hit by thousands of rockets within a 20-minute span is quite an onslaught. Not only that, but Hamas actually launched attacks into 22 different sites. They massively sent infiltrators into Israel. They cut through the fence with Israel with bulldozers and other equipment. They came through and attacked in everything from trucks to motorcycles to dune buggies, and even a guy on a paraglider, one of those basically gliders, this big sail, a parachute type device with a motor on it. So they've come through in every way possible. They're going through and attacking homes and military. They've attacked the tank and many other things. This war has to date so far caused over 250 Israelis to no longer be with us. They have had injuries in Israel of 1,500. The numbers of the counterattacks from Israel in Gaza are probably a bit higher. Last I saw was somewhere on the order of 200 Gazans who have expired, and a number of similar up to 2,000 injuries. And these numbers are probably not even fully tabulated. I'm sure they're going to go up when the smoke clears. We'll hear more about what actually happened and how many were hit. But guys, they're going through homes in Israel. This is, and they're attacking civilians and military targets, anybody and everybody. This is a horrific thing. When I first got word of this last night, I took it to be more of just the ongoing stuff we've been seeing between Gaza and Israel over the last several years. In 2021, they also attacked Israel with something like 5,000 rockets over a span of several days. Well, they've already almost matched that number in the initial onslaught against Israel within the first 20 minutes. So this is a much bigger attack. This is very significant. It may pull the United States in, at least for support initially. Who knows? But you got to bear in mind the Yom Kippur War was one of the very few occasions that the U.S. military actually went up to status 3, level 3 in their DEFCON alert, because we came close to getting into it with the Soviet Union at the time, because we had naval confrontations in the Mediterranean Sea with the Russians, and we also had just a lot of stuff happened there. We really anticipated we might get into World War III or the Yom Kippur War. So how much will the United States get involved in this war? The Biden administration is formulating a response as we speak. So this could pull us into yet one other conflict. It is my high suspicion that this was all instigated, or may have been instigated by Iran, even though Iran's main ally is Hezbollah up in Syria, not Hamas, but they're closely related. And you got to bear in mind that Israel and Saudi Arabia were this close to solving a peace deal between them, with the main sticking point in Saudi Arabia being what's going on in Gaza. And in fact, Israel has actually come out and endorsed Saudi Arabia going nuclear, because Saudi Arabia is needed by Israel to counter Iran, and vice versa. This is what's driving Saudi Arabia and Iran together. This might torpedo that alliance somewhat. That alliance is probably seen as a potential prelude to a war against Iran from Israel's side, but this could be a kind of a first strike, maybe taking that agreement out. I don't know what the ramifications are going to be with that agreement, because Saudi Arabia needs Israel too. They each need each other to counter Iran. But Saudi Arabia is where Mecca's at. Saudi Arabia has a very important role to play in the Islamic world, and they do have a sticking point over this whole deal with Gaza. And there's been a continuous, basically, conflict between Israel and Gaza since the Israelis withdrew their troops from the Gaza Strip back in 2005. Hamas gained control of the Gaza Strip right after that. And this is one of the reasons that Israel has been really cool on the idea of a Palestinian state forming. Some think, well, if there's a Palestinian state, this stuff wouldn't happen, but Israel is scared that if there's a Palestinian state, that there would be a larger war with these guys. It looks like the war is going to happen one way or the other. This is a very, very sad situation we got there. Now, the people in Gaza have been unhappy because really Gaza is kind of like a giant concentration camp, if you will. It's a rough situation. Now, if you consider the casualties that Israel has incurred, Israel has like a 45th of population of the United States. So it's been said that this is way bigger to them than 9/11 was to us here in the United States when you look at the proportion of populations and you look at the number of people that have been hit. So this attack occurred during the Simchat Torah and Sabbat religious holidays in Israel, similar to the Yom Kippur War, which the Yom Kippur, I guess, was the religious holiday. I don't know why Yom Kippur, Simchat Torah, and Sabbat. I don't know all the Jewish holidays, but I do know that for some reason they are often attacked on their holidays or religious holidays, and this may be a religious war, at least in part. It's a religious war based on that. This has been likened to a third intifada. This is definitely a situation that is destined probably to get a lot worse given the scale of this attack. I think it's calmed down a little bit right now. It's nighttime over there. I don't know. It may be reigniting, but guys, given the scale of this attack and how it's been launched, this was well planned and orchestrated well ahead of time. They had been planning this obviously for some time. So, and they had to get all these missiles in there, and Iran is allegedly thought to be the source of a lot of the missiles that Hamas is using. So you can bet Iran has got a finger in this in some fashion, and that might even further prompt Israel to want to attack Iran with or without Saudi Arabia. Now, I understand that Saudi Arabia just gave Iran overflight rights, which might enable them to actually reach targets deeper into Iran. That might still continue. What role there's going to be now between Saudi and Arabia and Israel, given this conflict, is going to be complicated at best. But Israeli-Iran war is bound to draw the United States in because the United States have been having confrontations with Iran. And you got to remember, Iran calls the United States the Great Satan, not Israel. They call the United States the Great Satan. So Iran's number one target is the United States in that regard. One reason that Israel needs Saudi Arabia is because just 2 nukes will take out Israel. Just 2. That's all it takes. That's why Israel really don't want to see Iran with nuclear weapons, because if Tel Aviv and I'm getting brain lock. If Tel Aviv and Haifa were taken out, that'd be all she wrote for Israel in all intents and purposes, at least population-wise. So this is a very dire situation over there right now. It's a lot worse than I first assumed when I heard of the fighting, because this kind of fighting has been going on with Hamas and Israel now, like I said, since 2005. So the Hamas has went in and captured civilians and military people alike and took them as hostages. So now they got hostages to use in negotiations against Israel. So this is going to be complex. Yes, Israel has hit back, including with airstrikes. Every time they've had a conflict between Hamas and Israel, Hamas has always taken more casualties in the end. And basically, Netanyahu has declared war on Hamas, the Palestinian area of Gaza. There's also Palestinians in the West Bank. That's the 2 primary areas which are Palestinian enclaves in Israel. And you might bear in mind that there's still a lot of Palestinians that live mixed in with and other Arabs that live mixed in with the Jewish population within the state of Israel itself. So there's a lot at stake here. This is really hitting. It's symptoms of the greater warfare that's going on around the world. We see Iran supplying Russia right now, and Medvedev had to come out and blame the entire attack of Hamas on Israel squarely on the United States. On the United States, that's who he's blamed for this whole conflict. So this has greater implications. It has implications for things that could fan over, spill out, guys. We don't know how this is going to play out just yet, but I'm going to share some articles in a little bit with you guys. But yeah, so in 20 minutes, this all started in a major attack with the rockets. The first fuselage was 20 minutes. And of course, Israel used their Iron Dome to stop a lot of these rockets, their Iron Dome anti-missile defense system they have internally. And those were pretty good at taking out a number of these. I don't know what the number was. It said that the rockets themselves caused the loss of 5 Israelis at the very inception, but the toll, the count of that is going up. The last count I saw was 250 that are no longer with us, if you know what I mean. I got to watch what I say, guys. This platform very much governs word usage and violence and things like that. So you got community standards that if you violate them, the written community standards, that you get in trouble with. So I have to be careful what I say and how I say it. So bear in mind that. So I'm trying not to incur strikes. I'm just trying to bring you the news that any other news outlet can tell you far more than I can tell you on this platform. So I just have to be careful. So just bear that in mind with what I say and how I say it, and have some patience with me, please. But yeah, so I'm going to share some articles with you here in just a second. Give me 1 minute, please. Hit the share screen. Ding, 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 ding. So here we are. This headline, a quote from Israelis are, "We are being," I don't even want to say this word. I'll just highlight it. Anyway, Israelis are crying for help as the militants they're going house to house. They're going house to house and breaking in people's homes. They've taken people at bus stops. There's bodies at bus stops. It's gross, guys, what's happening over there. It's really an awful thing. Yeah, this is an old article talking about 100 people. Yeah, it's over 250. This is changing by the moment, so we can't take all this at its top level. This is changing by the moment, guys. As soon as articles come out, they're already outdated, because this is a fast-moving situation over there. Here's where they were attacking the fence I mentioned between Hamas Strip and Israel. Like I said, they've captured soldiers. They took this tank. They pulled the guys out of the tank. Palestinians drive captured Israeli military vehicles into the Gaza city, and then I guess into Israel. Here's a bulldozer they used to breach the fence. Yeah, I think the guys in that tank were in this tank are no longer with us. They burnt that tank, but who knows? I'm really surprised that they didn't try to just capture the tank and use it. Maybe they didn't have the right training. Of course, they didn't know how to operate that tank. As you can see, there's smoke here this is from the Israeli airstrikes that had retaliated apparently in Gaza itself. So this is an ongoing situation. This could last for days, for weeks. It could spill over into something that lasts even longer. What would prompt Hamas to do this, knowing that they usually take greater casualties than Israel anytime they get into conflict with Israel? Why did they do this? Again, I said it might have been prompted. Maybe they're acting as surrogates for Iran or something else. Hamas attacked Israel. Netanyahu says his country's at war. You can see this across many sites. A lot of the same photographs are being put out and videos. I got to be careful in sharing videos, because then again, you're subject to getting strikes. If you show violence on this platform, it's not permitted. And that's anything. If you show people even beating on others, I showed a video one time I thought was good because it was from Twitter, now X, and I did not show videos of people being off, but there were some people getting beaten, and that caused me a lot of trouble with YouTube. Caused me a lot of trouble with YouTube, guys. So we're just seeing this all over the place right here. Surprise! Yeah, it was a surprise attack. Like I said, it started at 06:30 this morning, the local time, which was about just before I started my live session last night. So that's why when I first saw this, I thought, well, this is just more of what's been going on. But apparently, no, this is much bigger. This is the biggest attack from Hamas on Israel. In fact, like I said, this has been likened to the Yom Kippur War. Yeah, look at this, guys. Lots of wreckage, lots of carnage. Now, this is in Palestine. This is from the airstrikes that Israel has put back on the Palestinians. You can see entire buildings destroyed. The casualty rates that we have so far on their side, on the Palestinian side, are not probably a final count by any stretch of the imagination. Here we are. This is where Dmitry Medvedev, the former president of Russia, and the only other living Russian leader. He's number 2 on the Russian Security Council, right directly under Putin. So he's made these claims that it's the United States' fault. So I can find this direct quote in here. There's somewhere in here. There's a direct quote from him. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to find these things. But anyway, yeah, here it is. He is accused, he's tying this in with Zelensky somehow. I don't know how he's doing that. But Medvedev went on to accuse the U.S. of instigating violence around the world. This is what can stop America's maniac obsession and set to incite conflicts all over the planet, he asked. Let's see, where is that? Here it is. Here's what he said. He said, the conflict between Israel and Palestine has been going on for decades with the U.S. as the key player in it. He said the United States is the key player, not Israel, not Hamas, not anybody else, not Iran, not Hezbollah, but Israel. And I got to point out, Israel is also, now this is a woman who was captured. I might show some of that. This is not the video. I've seen the video. Basically, her pants are sore. I don't know if that's because she had an accident and the fear of all this, or if these guys actually did something to her, which I got to be careful how I say that, guys. I don't know if I should show that video or not, because it might get a strike. I mean, I got to be so careful on here. Here is the Christian Post saying, Israel on attack, pray for God's merciful intervention. And that's a good thing, guys. Heartbreak, shock, agony, devastation, confusion, rage. Now, that's the emotions that's been expressed over there. Again, these numbers are already outdated here. The numbers are much higher than that now. Like I said, by the time somebody writes an article and posts it, it's already outdated. So you got to bear that in mind. This is happening fast. Here we are. This is straight from the front page of the Israeli Post, live updates. This is about as good as we're going to get it. So they say it's above 250 that have been taken out. So anyway, guys, this is a neighborhood here. This is homes, guys, with fires where things are happening in people's homes. You can see smoke in different areas. Probably one side's Palestine, maybe the other side is in the Gaza Strip. Netanyahu, Gazans should flee IDF to revenge this Black Day, basically. So there's just a lot of articles in here. Hamas terror commander, DF calls for an all-out war on Israel. All-out war. So you can see this is probably going to expand. This has big ramifications. Here we are. This is from the Times of Israel. This is their live update. Same numbers here right now. Hostages taken to Gaza. Rockets on Tel Aviv. Oh, Tel Aviv. Okay. Civilians and soldiers abducted and taken into Gaza. There's some of them being taken away in a truck. Utter chaos. Family survivors tell the horror of Hamas invasions. Netanyahu, we are at war. So he's the conservative party. Some of the other parties in Israel are now calling for a more joint government. And a lot of people think that, typically when a leader in Israel has something like this happen, he's in trouble politically within his country, because Netanyahu's great claim was that under his purview there was peace, and now we can see that's not the case. So this could have ramifications there. Here's the guy on the paraglider coming in, guys. I'm just going to open this up and let you see there. You can clearly see he's riding a trike. It's not one of those where he's got the propeller on his back. He's actually riding one of those trikes, that three-wheeled paraglider. Now that's a dangerous way to invade because he's a big target up there. I'm surprised he wasn't taken out. So maybe he was. I don't know. That is a big thing. All right, let's see. This is why a lot of people are favoring Russia right here. Here we go. I don't know if I want to show this too much. Well, I definitely don't want to play the sound. Yeah, that's that woman being captured. A lot of stuff going on here, guys. I got to be careful what I put on here. So you can see, but there may be other ramifications. Maybe there is a growing movement in Israel that wants to take the Temple Mount. They claim, well, that it's not fair. The Temple Mount, even Israel, the government of Israel, discriminates against Jews, not letting them to fully worship at the Temple Mount. They're restricted to a certain area on the Wailing Wall. And what they would actually do now that they have the red calf over there, which is part of their prophecy, they would have to have a red calf to sacrifice in a new temple. There is a temple movement in Israel that would like to rebuild the Jewish temple on the Temple Mount. So if they could use this as an excuse to take out the Alaska mosque here, it's possible that that would instigate a much wider war. It would probably divide Saudi Arabia and Israel for sure. Israel don't really want to do that, at least the government don't. But this is the mosque here that a lot of Israelis would like to take out. Some Israelis claim, well, we could build our temple next to this mosque and leave it. That might be a little better, but they could, in the middle of the conflict, just accidentally, supposedly, take this place out. I don't know, guys. That would really instigate a huge war in the Middle East. Huge war. You might know that Albert Pike, back in the 1800s, 1871, sent a letter to Giuseppe Mazzini talking about the Third World War. And the Third World War was to be between an Israel that didn't exist yet at that time and the Arab War has been instigator of a Third World War that would lead to certain entity taking global power, if you know what I mean. I don't know, guys. That's allegedly what's happened. That was revealed back in the 1920s by a guy from, I think his name was Alan Dean. He was a bishop in South America. He claimed that there was that letter in a museum in England. That museum, supposedly, that letter disappeared. No one can find it. But the things he spelled out for World War II and World War III, for World War II, definitely seem to play out. And we seem to be heading this direction for World War III. Now, I can't definitively claim that was the case, but, it all looks highly suspicious. That's all I'm going to say about it, guys. It looks highly suspicious. So this is Wikipedia talking about this conflict. Here you can see on the belligerents, Israel, Hamas, there's other organizations that are involved in this from the Palestinian side. Here's your list of commanders, casualties and losses. You can see injured, according to this, is 1,790 Palestinians, 1,800 Israelis, very close numbers. I think when you got entire buildings destroyed in Gaza, you don't know how many people are still in those buildings. So this number, all these numbers are probably underestimated and will go up. Israel and Saudi Arabia are conducting negotiations to normalize relationships with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. So will this go forward? How will it change that? The commander of the Mohammed Deif said the attack was in response to desecration of the Alaska mosque, which is typical. This is typical, guys. This is what we're talking about here. This mosque I just showed you. So that's part of what they're claiming. And, you saw that article from some of the Israelis claiming the government of Israel was discriminating against them and keeping them out of there. And yet the Hamas is citing this as being the reason for their hits, which is typically what's the case. Was it really that? If so, why did it occur on this 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War? I think this was planned ahead, and I expect there are other forces behind this, other forces driving it, and I would expect that probably includes Iran. So you guys can figure this for yourself as to who's to blame. Again, I'm not actually trying to take sides here. I'm just trying to bring you guys what's going down and what it might mean for us going forward. Just to bear in mind, the Yom Kippur War took place 50 years ago, just in 1976. No, 1973, excuse me, 1973. But it was just a few years later, in 1978, just 5 years later, that Jimmy Carter negotiated peace between Anwar Sadat and Menachem Begin. So Egypt and Israel came to peace after that. Of course, Egypt was a major player in that war, and they got it handed to them in that war. The Israelis really kicked it, but it was not an easy fight for them. One of their first offenses on the Israeli side was defeated, but they managed in the end to cross the Suez Canal. They actually crossed the Suez Canal and really put the scare into Egypt. So that was part of probably why Egypt decided to make peace. And Egypt actually switched alliance from Russia to the United States after that. So again, if you look at the DEFCON levels, we were at DEFCON 3 during the Yom Kippur War. We may already be there. We don't know where we're at right now, but we know our doomsday planes have been flying. Our B-52s have been flying. And I've put that out last night in my early this morning, that live session I did. We talked about this. Where's this going to lead? What's going to be the ramifications? How will it all play out? How will America respond to the attack on Israel is a big question. And apparently the Biden administration gave an initial response, and they're working up a bigger response. He says, this is what Biden said. In this moment of tragedy, I want to say to Hamas and to the world and to the terrorists everywhere that the United States stands with Israel. We will not ever fail to have their back. So that says a lot. He said, Israel has the right to defend itself and its people, full stop. And he said that the Americans' response, America's support for Israel and their security is rock solid. So you can bet that we are in some fashion going to be supporting Israel. He went on to say the United States unequivocally condemns this appalling assault against Israel by Hamas terrorists from Gaza. I made it clear to Prime Minister Netanyahu that we stand ready to offer all appropriate means of support to the government and people of Israel. Well, we don't know what all appropriate means are. Is that weapons? Is it money? Or perhaps even U.S. troops? He said, we stand in solidarity with the government and people of Israel and extend our condolences for Israeli lives lost in these attacks. We will remain in close contact with our Israeli partners. The United States supports Israel's right to defend itself. So, this goes on and on, guys. As we can see, he's taking a lot of heat here in the United States for a lot of domestic stuff. I'm going to stop the share. All attacks, all warfare are horrible. It's, war has been referred to, Mayo like to call it politics by another means. He also referred to politics as war by other means. So in the eyes of some people, war and politics are all the same thing. They're just, different parts of the spectrum. Politics or warfare, however you want to count it. That's what the Chinese said. And it's seen that way by a lot of other people in the world. War is atrocious. What's going on over there is it's horrible. It's just horrible. It's horrible for all people involved. This has been horrible to the Gazans. It's been horrible to the Israelis. But this attack started by Hamas. That's a fact. Like I said, at 06:30 this morning, local time there. So it was already ongoing when I started my live session. It's actually started just a little bit before I started my live session this morning, so I didn't have a lot of intel on it as of yet. And at first I thought, well, this is just what keeps going on over it. But no, in this case, it was much larger. And so I apologize for underestimating it initially, but, it's just, we keep seeing this kind of stuff over there, but apparently now the ante is going higher. This fits in the whole spectrum of warfare going around the world. I think a few days ago, I'd mentioned that 29 countries were presently at war in the world. Does this up the count to 32 if you include if you would call Palestine a country, or 31, excuse me. Who else is involved? And there's interdependencies in all these countries that are in these conflicts. A lot of them are overlapping. A lot of them have alliances into the bigger picture. And there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of simmering conflicts out there that aren't in that count, especially when you look at the Philippines and China, North Korea being involved potentially in the war with Ukraine on the side of Russia, wanting to send 100,000 troops to Russia, apparently. Somebody asked where's a link on it. Just Google it. Google search it, guys. I've shown it in the past. So all right. So here's what you need to know. What you need to know is we are in a state of world conflict. As Canadian Prepper would tell you, we're already in World War III. And I think that is more likely than not. It's just escalating. You got to remember that the United States didn't enter World War II until like 2.5 years after it got started. But we did enter in a big way. Same way with World War I, we didn't enter it right off the bat either, but we got involved. We may get involved with this, but how in the world can we manage after depleting our resources so much, our ammo? How can we be involved on so many fronts? Our military used to have a 2-war theater policy, and we scaled it back to a 1-theater war policy to be able to fight in one place. Clearly, with all the tensions between the United States and China, the United States and Russia, that's not the appropriate defensive stance to take. But defense should be defense and not offense. Sometimes the best defense is being so strong that nobody would want to mess with you. Well, we're not quite there now. We've let a lot of our guard down in the world of defense. I do believe in a strong defense, but I don't like offense. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, but we are in dire straits. Guys, we could have EMPs right here in the United States. We could have sleeper cells awoken to take out our power substations here. The Israeli Revolutionary Guard has, when they were told that from a United States report, no less, that there's 9 critical substations if taken out could take down our entire grid. When he was informed of this, he said, we've already got 20 sleeper cells in the United States that's targeted at least 20 of these substations. And that was years ago. Where's that at today? What about all the sleeper cells that may have penetrated our southern border, at least all the militants? A lot of other channels have been reporting of Chinese military people coming across the southern border. We're not safe here at home this time. We're not safe here at home. This is why you got to keep your eyes wide open and head on swivel. This is why you need to get your preparations in order. I highly encourage you to have means of self-defense. I highly encourage you to have means to purify and sanitize water. I got a video down in my channel that you can find. It shows you different means for doing that. I've got videos showing you what to do for nuclear war, how to survive. You need to pay a lot of attention to these, my friends. You need to pay attention. You need to prep yourself. You need to get ready. I would highly encourage you to have seeds today, because the grid goes down. You won't be able to buy them this spring. I would highly encourage you to go check out my links to Tree Leaf Market and Eden Brothers. Buy the heirloom seeds, so when you plant them and harvest the seeds, which you may have to do because there won't be any stores to get seeds from if it all goes down, you would have that. But if we have a nuclear winter, you may not be able to plant for 2 or 3 years. I highly encourage you to try, if you at all can, to have long-term food storage to be able to take care of yourself. One good way to do that is go to prepwithgreg.com. We got a special right now, 25% off of a 3-month supply of this long-term food. Prepwithgreg.com. All the links will be in the notes below, the show notes and the pin notes. So pay attention to that. And you can get other prepping supplies at when you go into prepwithgreg.com, click on the My Patriot Supply logo, and you can find a lot of other prepping supplies and other food options. There's also a special for a 2-week supply of food. I encourage you, I would say, go buy your beans and rice and that kind of stuff, and just buy cans of sardines. They're cheap right now. And you can always mix the sardines with the rice you buy or things like this. Buy some, canned tuna, canned, salmon, whatever you can get like that. But I would highly encourage a mixed long-term food support strategy. I've got friends who have actually bought up to 3 years worth of this stuff, and they tell me they're glad they got it, especially right now. I've been getting some notes from people. Boy, I'm glad I got that right now. So that's something that everybody can't afford to buy is 3 years at one time. If you can't do anything else, buy a can of beans. buy something. You know, even if it's just pennies. If you keep doing that repeatedly for a while, it'll add up. But anyway, prepwithgreg.com is one resource I highly encourage you to look at and give some serious consideration to. But I will try to keep you apprised of this as it develops and all these other things going on around the world. So just, guys, we are in a dire strait. We are in a dire strait. Oh, yeah. Hey, I bought Flint and Steel from Canadian Prepper's site. He's got stuff too. So I'm going to be able to do, well, I've got some blacksmith equipment. I'll probably make that stuff myself. I've discovered my property in Arizona's got a lot of flint on it, a lot of flint. So I don't know if I don't know if it's enough for me to actually start selling flint and steel kits down the road. I might do that. So we'll just have to see how that plans out. I know there's enough flint there to take care of myself. You know, I've also got those flintlock nugs, if you know what I'm talking about. I got one of those, so that's a good thing to have. You can make your own powder that's black, if you know what I'm talking about. So guys, I just highly encourage you to do whatever you can to take care of yourself, defend yourself, and to be ready, because this may be coming down fast. The tensions between the United States and Russia, the United States and China are off the charts right now, off the charts. I would not be surprised if we weren't at DEFCON 3, maybe even DEFCON 2. We don't know what the actual level is. It's classified. So don't tell me what we're at. Nobody knows outside of the people that have access to that classified information. If they're giving that out, then they are in breach of national security and could be prosecuted. So do not expect them to tell you where we're at right now. But what we do know is our doomsday planes multiple planes have been in the air every day for the past few days, along with B-52s flying around. So, wow. We are in a tight situation right now. It could get ugly in a hurry. So things like this morning, that happens at the blink of an eye. These things just happen. Ping. You never know when the next shoe is going to drop. You just don't know. So, like I said, keep your eyes wide open, head on a swivel. Get ready. Be prepared. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Please share my videos, especially ones with the survival techniques in them. And share this one. People need to know about this. I'll probably paint a little different perspective than a lot of your other channels paint here, connecting this Yom Kippur War and DEFCON levels and stress with Russia. This is all Iran. These things are all interlocked right now, guys. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best. Prep and pray, and hope we have a better day. Greg out.